So over the past few days, we got what was basically not E3. It was the replacement of E3, which is not really a replacement. It's more just like everybody's doing their own showcase, and it's all around the same time, and it's basically just not E3. So I'm gonna do a quick kind of like go over, highlight, review, sort of, I guess, kind of thing here in this video of all the showcases. Instead of making one for every single showcase, I thought, you know what, let me just make one single video talking about each showcase and kind of my personal highlights, what I think was, you know, the strong points, the weak points, and what personally stood out for me from each showcase. If you do enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more and all that good stuff, and let me know in the comments below what was your favorite showcase and what was your favorite game announcements or, you know, game trailers or whatever else, you know, maybe not necessarily announcements, but something that we got, you know, a first look at. I'm gonna start with the worst one, which is ironically the last one, which was the Capcom Showcase. That was one I didn't even stream because I knew it was not going to be good. Just from what they were announcing, it was all stuff that wasn't interesting me. You know, it didn't interest me really, you know, at all. They did announce like an Ace, what was it, Ace Attorney trilogy, which I've never played those games, so I'm intrigued for that personally because, like I said, I never played them, so, you know, maybe that'd be cool. Besides that, there was like a quick little trailer for Pragmata, if I'm pronouncing it right, which I don't know a lot about that game either, I'll be honest with you guys, but from what I see, it seems intriguing, but again, I don't know enough to really say a whole lot about it. But the thing about that game is, although it's, you know, intriguing, they actually delayed it. So it's, excuse me, at the end of the trailer, they're like, you know, hey, we need more time, and so we're gonna basically delay this game, and that's gonna be that. So that's kind of what happened with that. Now, yeah, I'm starting with the worst. Let me backtrack because this is not the worst. This is by no means the second worst whatsoever. It just wasn't really a game showcase, but it was a really cool stream. I tuned in off and on because it was like 5.5 hours, and that was the Final Fantasy stream. Now, why I'm putting this next in the list, because I guess I'm sort of going worst to best, is not because Final Fantasy is the worst in any means. I played the demo recently. I just uploaded the video, which is basically the first 2 hours of the game, and the game is insane. My thing is that I really wish the Square Enix would have had an actual presentation. You know, I know Kingdom Hearts 4 is very, very early in development, but even just another little teaser trailer, they gave us a couple recently, you know, well, not recently, but, you know, previously rather. Give us a little bit more. Give us a little bit more of a taster, or even Missing Link, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, which is going to be the new mobile game. You know, give us a little bit more information on that, or, you know, what are you working on? It doesn't have to be major, you know, even if it was just kind of small tidbits, it could have still could have been better than Capcom. I know a lot of people with Capcom probably were hoping that we would have seen like a new Monster Hunter reveal, but they're not quite there yet. I get it, but still, it would have been nice. But anyways, with Square, the Final Fantasy 16 celebration stream was cool because they went through, you know, a bunch of different stuff in regards to the game. The game is massive, so it was a cool stream. It's not a bad stream. I just wish Square would have had their own sort of stream, if that makes any sense. Now, for the next ones, I don't really know how to, like, order them, so just ignore the fact. I know I said we're gonna go worst to best, but I don't really know because they're all pretty solid in their own regards, I think, and I'll explain why for each one. But let's go with Summer Game Fest first, which was the first one. Now, we got a couple different things with Summer Game Fest. We got, what was it, like Mortal Kombat 1. We got like an actual gameplay trailer, which is really cool to see. So I was really hyped about that, personally speaking, because it looks pretty crazy. We also got a release date for Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is really cool. And then after that, we got revealed. It wasn't really on Summer Game Fest. It was kind of part of the PlayStation blog post after. We got to look at the collector's edition and all that good stuff. So that was really exciting as well. We also got Sonic Superstars announcement trailer, which I thought that game looks phenomenal. I really love the art style. It's super vibrant, colorful, punchy. It really kind of takes me back to, you know, what we felt when we played those kind of games back in the day, you know, the original Sega games, the original Nintendo games, you know, way back in the day, where it seemed like it was super colorful and vibrant. You know, obviously not nowhere compared to what this is now, but that's how, you know, excuse me, we perceived it back in the day. And just to kind of see that art style, it's just really cool, and it just looks like classic Sonic. I'm really excited about that. I'm not even a massive Sonic fan, to be honest with you guys. Haven't played a ton of Sonic games, just a handful here and there, but I'm really excited about that one. And then, of course, they teased it. they teased it earlier and they ended it with it, which was the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you know, kind of new trailer, which showed a little bit of gameplay in it as well, which I still believe is slated for like a winter release, if I remember correctly. Probably going to be like early 2024. I can't remember if they actually announced the release date in there or not. Anyways, that was probably my highlight for Summer Game Fest. And honestly, one of my favorite announcements of this whole week is probably that one, because I've been dying to see more of Rebirth. I loved Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think it was so, so good, and I just cannot wait for Rebirth. So that was massive. And then, of course, they announced also, I think they announced in Summer Game Fest, that Lies of P, they announced the release date, but they also announced that there was going to be a demo that night, which I played, and again, that game is phenomenal. I really loved it. I would, just based off the demo, I think it's a solid like 8 out of 10 games so far, maybe like a 7.8-ish. I don't know, but it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time with it. Very challenging. It took me like 4 or 5 hours just to record like an hour and 20-minute video. So if you haven't seen it, check it out, man, because that was painful to make. But let me know, Lies of P, have you tried it out? What do you guys think? So I think that was pretty much it for that. And then, you know, I guess we're kind of getting like, you know, summer game, so not summer game, so Xbox Showcase versus Ubisoft. Which one was your favorite? That's kind of the question. Let's go ahead and I guess maybe talk about Ubisoft first, real quick. The funny thing is, I think Ubisoft, or you know, let's go to Xbox. We'll talk Ubisoft last, and I'll explain why in a second. Xbox had some pretty solid announcements for the most part. My highlights from it was, of course, they showed off Fable. And I know I got roasted in the comments. Oh, dude, like you didn't even know it was Fable till the end. Yeah, okay. First of all, I was pretty sure it was Fable. I was saying, this looks, you know, is it? I was pretty sure, but I wasn't positive. That's okay, because look, it is what it is. I didn't play the original Fables, but I'm really excited nonetheless, because I've seen, you know, some of the original Fables, and you know, I might go back and play them before this one comes out. But nonetheless, when I seen, you know, Fable getting announced, I'm like, oh, next generation Fable, like this is like what, a year or 2 years ago when they first announced it. It was just like a title, like a logo or whatever. And I was like, dude, I cannot wait for the potential of a Fable game on next generation consoles, because I know about the world. I'm not, you know, I haven't played it myself, but I love, first of all, I love fantasy worlds, so I don't even care. Okay, I might have not played the originals, but whatever. And I will go back. Excuse me. I plan to hopefully go back if I have time before this one comes out. We don't even have a release date. Now that one's kind of mixed reception. A lot of people are like, well, you know, it was mostly cinematic. Apparently some of it was gameplay, I guess, but I don't really know. And you know, there's also this whole debate over the main character, just like looking generally very unappealing. You know, like just overall, like just a strange looking character. And you know, there's like a debate among it, right? It's like some people are like, why is this character like, you know, look this way? And other people are like, oh, you know, what's the problem with it? So it's like, whatever. There's a whole, everybody just debates over everything. I do think that it looks intriguing, but we didn't see very much for it. Don't want to spend too much time with that. Let's move on from that, because they also showed the world premiere trailer, which is going to carry over into Ubisoft's presentation for Star Wars Outlaws, which is a Star Wars game made by Ubisoft. When I seen the official world premiere trailer, I was like, this is intriguing, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. There was just certain elements. It just didn't, the trailer, I feel like they didn't do a good job at selling the game. For me personally, it was enough to be like, okay, this is intriguing. But I kind of also felt like the main character, I said this in my trailer, you know, my reaction, and I got roasted for this too, but I felt like the main character kind of like didn't look like, I don't know, it kind of looked like someone that was, you know, taken from modern era and dropped into the Star Wars universe. And I know there's like different kinds of clothing in the world. There was just, I don't know how to explain it. It just, there's something about the character's aesthetic. I don't know if it's the hairstyle or the clothing style or what it is. I don't care. It's honestly not a big deal to me. It was just a tidbit that I mentioned randomly. Now, what I will say, we'll get more into in the Ubisoft section, is that it gives me a lot of Han Solo vibes, which I like. And again, we'll talk about it in a second more with the Ubisoft section, because I think the game has a lot of potential and it looks really promising that we've seen more of it. But we also got Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty official trailer. Looks solid. We also got post Xbox Showcase a bunch of information. There's a huge free update coming to the game that's going to add a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but yeah, there's a lot coming to the game that they're changing, and a lot of the devs, you know, were quoted saying that they wish this was the game they launched with, because this is just far better. A lot of quality of life improvements, massively, and they've already fixed a bunch of stuff, and so a lot of people are excited for Phantom Liberty. Looks solid for the most part, from what I can tell, and I guess we'll see when it comes out. You know how it actually hits and resonates with players. We got another trailer for Forza Motorsport. Obviously, the new Forza Motorsport entry, which is just calling Forza Motorsport. I'm not really sure why. I can't remember. I forget. It's basically Forza Motorsport 8. But they're dropping the number, and I forget. I think they explained it before, but I can't remember. Anyways, the one that looks great, by the way. It looks fantastic. There's not a lot for me to say about that. There's a pretty sweet Corvette that they showed off, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I love Corvettes, so I'm in. I was already in, but I'm even more in. So Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 was very surprising, because it's like, okay, apparently, from what I understand, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand, this is a new iteration in the Flight Simulator, I guess, series, which is kind of weird because we just got Flight Simulator 2020 in 2020. But what's cool about 2024 is there's a lot of stuff that has to do with flight, that has to do with like missions. It's not just flying around, and which is great and awesome, but there's a lot of stuff like maybe you're a pilot for a group of people that are going skydiving, or maybe you're a firefighter, aviator, right? Where you're putting out forest fires, different things like that. Different things that have to do with flight, and flight work and missions, right? And I thought that was really cool because it kind of adds a little bit of a different element to the Flight Simulator, world, I guess, for lack of a better word. And so I'm really intrigued by that. I want to see how that kind of plays out. And I love Flight Simulator. It's a lot of fun. I haven't spent a ton of time in it, but the time I have spent in it, I've really enjoyed. And I'm liking this whole concept with kind of seeming like you're gonna have some missions. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. That game is creepy, man. It just gives you chills, but I love it. I enjoyed the first game. The trailer that they showed off is a little bit of, I guess, sort of like, it was more like a cinematic, but it was kind of like in-game, it seemed like. I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure. But it looked great. Just, the vibe, the story elements, and that looks really solid. I can't remember when they said it's coming out. I think it's 2024, if I remember correctly. But anyways, that game looks phenomenal as well. And then they capped it off. I mean, listen, there was a lot of other announcements that didn't really pique my interest. Like, if we're going through it really quick, there was South of Midnight looked really intriguing. That was one I didn't post a reaction for, but it was kind of like almost like stop animation, like almost clay animation. And there was like this creepy like skeleton dude playing a guitar in this sort of like, moonlight swamp. I don't know. I don't really know anything about this game, but I just know that trailer really piqued my interest, and I was like, huh. This looks pretty intriguing. I know a lot of people are excited for games like Avowed. I'm not, personally not really, intrigued by it. There's also a bunch of other stuff that they announced that I didn't really pique my interest, like the Elder Scrolls Online Journey to Necrom. I don't really play ESO. I've tried it a little bit. I never, really got super into it. I enjoyed what I tried. I just never really got into it for no particular reason. So, I guess that's probably something that would resonate with other people. Cities Skylines 2, I heard some people are excited for. That game Clockwork Revolution looked very interesting as well. It looked very, I used the word a lot, but it looked intriguing. Like, I piqued my interest, and I'm really curious to see more about it. And then we got over an hour of Starfield. Now, a lot of mixed reception about Starfield. I will say this, that with Starfield, if you look at my reaction at the very beginning, I'm very skeptical. I'm like, I don't know. But as it goes kind of through and progresses, I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. But my biggest concern with that is, again, like I said, are they going to have enough like in the world to make it feel captive? Like, you look at a game like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which someone actually mentioned in my chat. I can't remember who it was. Sorry, I forget. And someone mentioned that, I think it might have been my buddy Chris, actually. And he said, whoever the person was said, I think it might have been Chris, said that, with Tears of the Kingdom, they filled out the world very, very well, right? It's a big world, but they did a good job at filling it out, making everything interesting. Starfield's very ambitious. Now, it's one of those games where it can just fall completely flat on its face, or it could be one of the greatest games ever. And that's that's the kind of the problem, is that we don't know until we get to actually get hands-on and try it for ourselves. There's a lot to it that showed off, you know, a lot of, you know, customization. There's just the way you can build your own ship by itself is massive. It's such a huge thing. You know, there's just so much potential for this game, and I'm a lot more excited for it than I was before. A lot of people were hyped from the start. I wasn't. When they first announced it, I was like, huh, okay. But I wasn't really like, whoa, I didn't care. But now, like, I wasn't sure if I would even try it, you know, because I was like, I don't know if this game really hits with me. But after seeing the presentation, I'm like, I'm somewhat excited, at least, to try it, and I'm hopeful and optimistic for the game. But again, I'm cautiously optimistic because it's so incredibly ambitious that it's like, will it work properly? If it does, I think the game could be so good, and I'm excited for the potential. I'm just scared. Okay, I'm scared to get hurt, okay? I'm scared to get disappointed by the game. But I think it looks very promising. What they showed off in the showcase really helped kind of hammer home the concept and idea about this game. I don't want to spend too much time on each of these games because there's a lot I could say, but obviously Starfield was a much bigger one. It's the one that got the most attention out of all the showcases, so we had to mention it the most really quick. But let me know really quick in the comments, what do you think of Starfield? Okay, we got Ubisoft Forward. Let's go through this really quick. Just Dance. Look, I don't care about Just Dance. I think it's, you know, the way they open Ubisoft Forward every single year with Just Dance is kind of cringy. I don't like it. I just ignore the whole intro because it's just, I don't like it personally. Okay, that's me. Maybe you're into Just Dance. I'm not. So that one was just like a write-off for me. But then they went into Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, where again, I get conflicted because I love the Avatar world. I just finally watched Way of the Water with my wife and son, and thought that movie was incredible. It was insane. Masterpiece. 10 out of 10 movie. But the thing is the world of Avatar in the movies has such a glimmer, a sheen. It has such a this charm to it. And I feel like some of that was lacking from what I've seen in the game, Frontiers of Pandora. Sure, it's the Avatar world, but it didn't really do anything to made me go, wow, right? Like, even the colors, they don't feel as vibrant as they should be, right? You watch the movie, everything's vibrant, right? And I know not everybody likes Fortnite, but Fortnite's a perfect example of vibrant colors that you really use the color palette well. And I just feel the color palette feels a little dull in this game. And there's a lack of glimmer and sheen in this game. And again, it kind of almost looks like a Far Cry game with like an Avatar skin, which I don't know is what, you know, I personally would want from an Avatar game, but I'm excited about the potential for it. I'm just really unsure about how it looks. I'm not sure that it looks very interesting as a whole, but I'm so into the Avatar world that I'm like, you know, that's what's kind of keeping me like, all right, you know. And there's elements that seemed okay, like the skill tree and stuff looked cool and interesting, and just some of the gameplay looked okay. But again, I feel like it could have been done better. But again, you know, there's still a lot more to see. It comes out December, so there's still like, what, 6 months for them to, you know, kind of work on it. But we'll see. I just hope that they execute it well, because I don't want this to just be another one of those movie games, you know, movies that get turned into a game, which we've seen a lot of in the early 2000s. If you lived in that era, you know what I mean? And most of them just kind of like, they were bad, right? They were pretty bad. So I'm hoping this isn't bad. Then they went on to talk about XDefiant. I played a little bit of the various betas they've had for it. They're actually planning to launch this game later on this summer. I'm really excited about the potential for this game. I think it felt pretty solid in the beta. Obviously had a few gripes with it, but they're saying that they're going to have one more open beta, which is going to be, I believe, June 21st to 23rd, if I remember correctly. And that's going to be a final push just to kind of test out the new changes they've made. So I'm excited to see what changes they made to the game and how it's going to be. They're launching with like 14 maps. They're going to be, you know, releasing another 12 maps throughout the first year of the game's life cycle. I mean, they're already doing really well. So I hope this is going to be a solid FPS that can compete at least somewhat with, you know, games like COD. I know COD is like a mega house, but there's a lot of people that are just tired of some of the choices that COD's making, and maybe XDefiant will satisfy that crave that, you know, people have that they're not getting from COD. Maybe, I don't know. And then they showed off more of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which was again announced during Xbox's showcase. I don't know why it got so much hate during the initial announcement, But what I seen during the Ubisoft Forward of this game, they showed a lot of gameplay. It looks really interesting. It looks like one of those classic kind of 2D style games, but with a modern twist. And honestly, it's not even like I'm a big Prince of Persia fan. I didn't really play many of the games back in the day, I'll be honest. I maybe lightly touched them or watched friends play them, but I didn't get super into them, so I don't have a bias or anything. Maybe that's why I don't hate it. I don't know. maybe that's why other people are hating it. I don't know. You guys can let me know if you have greater insight. But Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, I think it looks solid. I think it's a promising game that really feels, you know, a breath of fresh air, especially like nowadays. Everyone's doing the same thing. It feels like something a little bit different. And yeah, I don't know. It looks solid. I mean, I'll most likely play it for sure. Skull and Bones didn't really show much. They showed a little bit of like a trailer and then again announced, hey, we're going to have like an open beta. I think it's August, if I remember correctly. Sorry, no, it's a private beta. You got to register for it, not open. That one was okay. They had a cool kind of a song that was playing live, and it was epic. If you watch my reaction to it, you see what I mean. They announced a couple other things, the Division Resurgence, which I found out was a mobile game, which I was disappointed for, because I always enjoyed the idea of the Division, but I feel like the Division 1 and especially 2 just didn't resonate with me personally the way I'd hoped, especially the way, like, you know, when you seen the Division 1 before it came out, the first like trailers back in like what, 2014 or whatever it was, if you guys seen those and you remember the vibe that it gave you, I was hoping for that kind of, you know, style game, and it didn't really hit that way. I think the Division 1 got closer than 2, but I was hoping Resurgence would be like, you know, a third game that would have been, but it's mobile, so whatever. Then the Crew Motorfest. I never really played the Crew games, you know, but what I did like is that for people that played a lot of 2, you can actually import your cars to Motorfest, which is really cool. Also with the Crew Motorfest, it's set in Hawaii, which looks beautiful. I'm a sucker for tropical environments, so right there they got a hook in me just from that. So I'm excited about you know, giving it a go and seeing, you know, if I can get into that game. There's so many racing games, but you know, only a few do it right, I feel like. So I'm hoping that this is a solid game. It looks promising, but time will tell. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments. Then we got a bunch of Assassin's Creed. We're going to go through this kind of quickly. Assassin's Creed Nexus is a VR game, but it's apparently only coming to MetaQuest, which I don't understand because, okay, yes, MetaQuest has a greater install base, but PSVR 2, from what I can gather, has already sold a very good amount out of the gate. It has a lot of potential, and it's a lot more powerful than the MetaQuest. So I don't understand why, you know, unless it's like some kind of exclusive deal, you know, like certain games only come to Xbox or only to PlayStation. Maybe it's an exclusive deal Meta has with Ubisoft for Assassin's Creed Nexus, but, you know, it's kind of a disappointment because the game actually looks really interesting and looks like it could be really good, but unless it comes to PSVR 2, I won't be able to play it because I don't have a MetaQuest, and VR units are so expensive. I'm not ready to buy multiple VR units, man. The PSVR 2 is good for me. And then we got Codename Jade, which looked really, it looked decent. But then they said it was a mobile game, and I'm like, I don't care about mobile games personally, so whatever. But it looked okay. For a mobile game, it looks solid, I think. But again, got to see more. And then they showed off more Assassin's Creed Mirage, which had a lot of gameplay, and it just really hammered home the idea that it really is going back to the roots. Really felt like, you know, old school Assassin's Creed, like back to like Assassin's Creed 1, which I think is what a lot of people have been, you know, wanting. And I've been repeating this over and over again, and that's the fact that I think that there's been too much bloat in recent years, in recent you know, Assassin's Creed. I look at Valhalla. I love the idea and the theme of Valhalla, but it was like so much unnecessary like bloat of things that you actually had to do. And then Odyssey, I loved the theme of Odyssey, but getting locked and not being able to progress because of like the RPG elements that they added where, oh, you're not a high enough level to go to this mission, gotta go do all these side missions, which are supposed to be side and optional, but no, you have to do them in order to get high enough level to even progress. So I actually never finished Odyssey, sadly. I got really, really far, and then I just stopped because I'm like, dude, this is just like off-putting. So I'm glad that they're doing away with that. And so Mirage, I'm really hopeful for. It looks really solid, like a solid old school Assassin's Creed. And then last but not least, Star Wars Outlaws, like we mentioned earlier with the Xbox Showcase. They showed off some actual gameplay a little bit. They got a little bit more into what, you know, what's going on in this world. And again, the idea is very Han Solo-esque, you know. Even the logo, if you look at the logo and just the font, and then you look at the Solo movie logo, I actually just realized that right now, I think. It has the same sort of font. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same font or similar font, and that kind of sideways, kind of crooked thing. So obviously, this game is heavily inspired by Han Solo, and specifically the Solo movie. And like I said, as I see more of it, the main character has like this little kind of creature, like pet or friend, that actually is not just like a pet. It helps you out. Like you can command it, hey, go do this, go hit this button over there, or different things like that, and it's really cool. I like it. It's a cool little creature, man. I love the creatures of Star Wars. So I'm a sucker for the Star Wars universe to begin with, but I think this looks like a really solid game that can have a lot of potential to be a really good game. And from what I've seen so far, I'm very hopeful and I'm excited for it. It's coming out in 2024, I think, if they said, and I think this is one of the stronger games they showed off, alongside with Assassin's Creed Mirage. I think those were like the two big ones for the Ubisoft Forward. So I think it was great overall. So anyways, those are all the showcases. I don't think I'm missing anything. I thought they were solid overall. I mean, if I was to rate each one, Capcom, from what I see, I didn't even watch it all. It was so painful. I skimmed through a bunch of it. From what I seen, it was painful. Maybe like a 5 out of 10. I don't even know. That might be generous. Summer Games Fest, I mean, it could have been better, but it was a really good amount of stuff too. That was probably like a solid 7.5. I think it would have been a 7 if they didn't have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but that bumps it up a little bit for me. Again, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. Don't take this too seriously. Ubisoft Forward is actually pretty solid. I think it was actually a good man, that's a hard one. I think it might have been like an 8. Maybe. 7.8. 7.8. Okay? 7.8. There was some good stuff. It could have been better. 7.8. And then I think the Xbox Showcase was probably like a solid, I don't know, let's say like an 8. Maybe like an 8. Maybe like an 8.2. I don't know. Around there. Again, I haven't really thought that through. I'm just spitballing numbers. But anyways, those were all the showcases of not E3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I wish that we would have had more presentations, from companies like Nintendo, maybe another showcase from PlayStation, because their previous showcase was not the strongest that we had like, a month ago or so. But I don't know. Those are my thoughts. That's kind of my sort of, brief review and highlights of all the showcases for not E3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I hope to see you guys soon in another one. Lots of games to play, and we'll be playing lots of them here on the channel, Lord willing. Until the next one, my friends, game on. Thanks for watching.